Drink all my coffee.
Captain by a hook with a red beard. Captain by a hook with a red beard.
Yes, sir. Episode 80, baby, of Captain by a Hook with the Red Beard, Rowan Donaghy, aka Rowan Dives. My man, Jaden Chandler Parnell, got me cracking up in the green room. Got a beautiful show for you guys here today. I can hear him, but y'all can't right now. So that's what's killing me. We're gonna break down these conference tournaments. We're gonna pretty much just go over the six major ones, and I'm thinking about talking about the Mountain West if we have time. Also, I have the last Saturday slate of the season before conference tournaments start, and pretty much the madness is here, man. The bracket championship week, all that is going to be going on next week. This is the last regular season Saturday of the season. Time has flown. Can't believe it went by this fast. As of last night in college basketball, I want to shout out two different groups of people. I want to shout out everybody that listened to my show and took Michigan at +5 while I had them at +4 and won money. I also want to shout out everybody that had Houston at -16.5 and won money while I had -17.5 and lost money. And the last shout out I have is for one of my favorite coaches, the man, the myth, the legend, Rick Pitino, turning Iona into a powerhouse. Undefeated through the month of February, winners of 10 straight. Rick Pitino getting back in the headlines is always good for college basketball. Now, without further ado, let's bring my man Jaden Chandler Parnell in from the JC Pod on YouTube. You can also follow him at Jaden95 Chandler. He does amazing work on YouTube. I love catching his videos. He broke down his conference tournaments and the madness and everything yesterday. Very insightful, very amazing. What's the dang deal?
Oh, not much, man. I was waiting for you. When you said Rick Pitino, I forgot, this is something funny about being pre-show, You won't believe it or not, we actually talk about the show a little bit before we come on. We don't just randomly talk for 40 minutes and then forget we're not live on air. But I was waiting for Juwan Howard to get a shout out right there. That's what I was waiting for, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Smiling, just waiting for it. How you doing?
Speaking of Juwan Howard, since you brought him up, the worst coach in college basketball history, middle school-esque with his schemes. One of the guys that if you got 10 seconds left and need a bucket, you might as well call the youngest kid in the stands to come down and draw you up a play. Although I will say this, last night for the first time all season, he actually drew up a deep, good play, wide open three, and some cracker I never heard of. This is why he's the worst coach in the world. Keep your players in the game, bro. Don't think, oh, this is the best shooter in practice. Let me bring him off the bench after he hasn't played for 48 minutes. And
Go hit it.
Air ball.
Terrible.
Air ball.
Poor kid, man.
Nah, yeah, it ain't
That
his
kid's going to see that in his head for forever now. He just ruined that kid's career from one shot.
Nah, it is, bro. And I hate to say it. It's all Coach Howard's fault. It's not your fault, kid. I think number 15. I don't know.
Oh, our boy Baker.
I've never seen that man in my life. I also thought that in the middle of the game. I'm like, bro, it's the second to last game of the season. There's 15 minutes left in the game. Somehow you only have one timeout. That's your first mistake. Secondly, you're playing with your lineup on the second to last game of the season. Like, I've never seen 32 and 11 on the court at the same time. I've never seen this cat 15 in the game. Like, bro, stick with your guys that got you here. Before you lost last night, you had sole possession of second place in the Big Ten. If you win last night and keep sole possession of second place in the Big Ten, that goes a long way with the committee. However, now you're in a 7-way tie with third place or
Damn.
second place. Yeah, the Big Ten, bro. We're gonna talk about it in a minute, but the Big Ten is a gauntlet. After Purdue, it's literally 6 or 7 teams at 10-8.
By the way, I just wanted to so before we touch on it again, Michigan next game IU. That's if you want to talk about a trap game, that is the king of trap games. I mean, those are two boo-boo schools. But yeah, our boy Baker, number 15, he's played 30 games this year. I think he averages about 60 minutes a game, but he's only started 3. So I mean, defend your points basically. That boy ain't getting in much.
Yeah.
I got him taking game winning shots. I mean, let's not give it to Jet Howard or
Bro, you know what pissed me off last night? Kobe Buffkin. Cooking.
why not him? Exactly. He was going off
Cooking.
that game, and all of a sudden just
He literally
Which
brought
one?
him back with like 9 straight, and then Jawan's like, all right, go sit in the corner, son, and get off the ball.
yeah,
Bro,
that shit amazed me.
and then he comes back after Juwan Howard goes away from him for 7 minutes and then hits an and one fadeaway. I'm like, bro, this man's still hot, bro. Give him the rock. What are you doing, bro? I don't give a fuck what your game plan is as a coach. If you're in the second half of a game and it's tied 81-81, go to the guy that's been cooking all night, even if you never even, if you, like, I don't know, bro. I don't get it.
That was a pretty infuriating game to watch. The end of.
The other thing that pissed me off about it, since we're on it, I wasn't even gonna talk about this shit, bro. But Hunter Dickinson, bro, come on, man. This is your 4th year, 3rd year. You've been playing basketball for too long of your life to not have a right hand off the glass hook shot. They literally was like guarding you like this. And instead of going right and just dunking it because they're giving you the lane, you're going into double teams with the left every time.
I see way too many bigs do that. I see that a little bit. I see that like all over too. Not simply just from the hood shots. I see guys pump fake and then literally sprint to try to get the edge into the defender. It's like, bro, you're running into the other 3 dudes that are on that side of the court. Like, what are you doing? It's just, like I said, I didn't play basketball like that. I quit playing by like high school, so like maybe it's something I just didn't pick up. But I just see that shit sometimes. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like,
No, bro, these kids don't get developed anymore. These kids.
I did something. Sorry to interrupt. Something I did here. I was listening to. I want to say it's some NBA podcast that it's either it's like Zach Lowe, Brian Windhorst. Like it's somebody who's like high up there. They're talking about, or it might have even been on like some college basketball podcast I listened to with 2, I think like institute analysts. They're talking about how coaches now. This is just for the NBA. So like this doesn't apply to everyone. But like coaches now for the NBA are having issues, like with like I would say over half the kids, like just with coaching because they're getting like not like coached properly. Like we aren't saying like they aren't coaches there because obviously they are like they're there, but they aren't teaching them like the small little like, hey, this is when you backdoor cut. Like, hey, this is when you. That's why you really got to appreciate coach. I think Scott Drew from Baylor. If I said his name right, I could have butchered it. That Bill Self, that boy from Arizona, like Calipari, like those guys get a lot of respect. And a lot of people want to go there because they actually get coached, and that's the big part of advancing your game. Because everyone's talented, like especially in college. Maybe not everyone, but you're starting to get to the point where almost everyone's talented. Like that's where you get your edges in the mental game. So if you aren't able to pick that stuff up, yikes.
No, the fundamentals is lost, man. Like you just said, just the whole. You used to be able to take 5 random guys, and if they all knew how to hoop, and I mean know how to hoop, not just can dribble and shoot, but like they understand the game, like you said, when to set picks, when to cut, how to space the floor properly. Y'all can play basketball together without even having the plays. Y'all could just move around together and understand the spacing of the floor. But these days, bro, it's a dead art.
Yeah, I think movement in general is a dead art in basketball a little bit. There's too much of I feel like there's some teams that do it well, like our boy from Nebraska, number 30, Keisei Tominaka.
Nebraska.
I think he plays. It's either Rutgers. I always forget what school he plays for. Keisei Tominaka, like I watched that dude literally play. I compare it to Curry a little bit. Like he's just constantly running back, like laps around the court, and like eventually they can just like give it to him on lanes. You got a 6-foot like point guard able to get to the lanes better than I've seen some 6'5" guards at school just stand in the corner and wait for their turn to dribble. And said like, why would I run off ball? I'm gonna have to run back for D after he gets done dribbling. I'm just gonna
No, it's
stand here in
definitely
the corner and just.
why work hard when you could just work easy, bro. Like if the whole team works together, somebody should be able to get a wide open layup.
Anyway, Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
No, I do agree though. Basketball as a whole, there are some mentals that You can definitely see that's where I give props to, like the kids, especially like the coach's son. Like you can see that some of these kids grew up with like I don't even want to say parents, but like parents and coaches are like, hey, this is like the little stuff you need to pay attention to, and those kids are doing a little bit better, and you can see those schools are doing a little bit better. Like for example, the Baylor's, Kansases, I mean, you name it, the Purdue's even. Like the coaching consistency is something that I think in all sports in general needs to go back up. I think we're getting too far away from it.
No,
So we were
I
talking
literally
about it.
watched Juwan Howard last night. Instead of coaching, just stand there like this, and
Yeah,
then
and then they'll go in the press conferences and be like, well, I mean, I can only like Jason Kidd did the same exact thing. The Mavs blew a 27-point lead to the Lakers. I know this is nothing different, but this could be a whole different situation if he's just like, I mean, I'm coaching. I can only do so much. They're the ones out there playing. It's like, no, bro. Like you can little gamesmanship.
yeah, and he's like, oh, like to his own players, bro. I'm like, bro, you didn't even call a play, bro, and you, I don't know, bro. It definitely is. It's a I don't know. Moving on to these conference tournaments. Let's start off with the Pac-12 on the West Coast. Um, I feel like any of the top four teams in this tournament can win it. Uh, the favorite, of course, the team that I am. I love UCLA, man. The mighty mighty Bruins. Mick Cronin is my guy. That would be my favorite pick. The way I figured we'd do this is each give a favorite pick and then each give a long shot. Um, so that's my favorite is the UCLA.
Me too. Why don't you talk about why we like them so much? I mean, I agree. They're
I love
that boy.
UCLA. Tiger
I'm a hacker.
Jaquez Jaime Jr. I said his name backwards, but y'all get the picture. Uh, Mick Cronin, coach of the year, in my opinion. I loved him at Cincinnati. I love the intensity and defense he's brought to UCLA. Tiger Campbell, experienced senior point guard. Always a good bet to go with experienced point guards. Jaquez on the wing. These kids just have the pieces, man, and they have the mental game of it to where they understand it's not all about scoring. You win ball games at the free throw line. You win ball games on defense. You win ball games rebounding, and that is what I see coming from this UCLA team. And I honestly think, I mean, we're gonna get a preview Saturday night. Arizona and UCLA play. I think those two teams are head and shoulders above the rest of the Pac-12. But I also
Is that a
think
potential? Sorry to interrupt real quick. Is that a potential championship matchup that we're going to see on Saturday for conference for Pac-12 conference tournament champ?
it could be, man. I definitely think it could be. I wish we had the brackets for these tournaments already, but
Dumb, bro. We've been over that shit. Dumb.
I feel like though one of those teams is gonna get upset in the semifinals because this is the Pac-12. I feel like USC, Oregon, even Arizona State. I think even Washington State is on a I think they're on a 6-game winning streak.
You said Washington. Yep, they're on a 6 gamer. Hey, what about Cal though? You got to watch out for Cal. They're on a
2 and
14 gamer.
17.
Yep, I was about to say they're 14 gamer bells though. That poor Cal. Yeah.
Bro, I can't even type, bro. Since we started this segment, I've been trying to type college basketball conference standings.
I mean, I think I think if I had to go for dark horses too, kind of while we're sitting here, like I don't know how far long shot odds can go, but I want to say like maybe Oregon. Just simply like I don't. It's like for me, it's just like a hunch thing. Like I saw something yesterday how they're on the bubble. I'm looking at some of these other long shots, like Washington State. You mentioned might not be a bad one, but like once you get past Washington State, like Utah, Washington, Colorado, it just starts to go slowly down a cliff that I don't like. So I think Oregon is probably like my borderline place for him. Like I could see this team like because they've been apparently on the like I don't know anything about that school. I'll say that straight up right now. Like I just know they're on the bubble this year, and they could really use a big tourney, like few wins, like maybe get themselves elevated over, especially after. This is going to derail a little bit. I'm sure we'll talk about more in Big Ten. That shot last night from Jameson Battle, Minnesota, 10-minute review, longest review ever. I'm not even going to touch on that because I might do that on my podcast Monday. That shit was stupid. Put it straight. But I thought that Rutgers is going to drop now. They lost to a school with 7 wins and only has 2 conference wins now. Like there's spots opening up in the tournament left and right now. So like if teams can get right at the right time, I think Oregon might be, one of those teams that like, hey, can we just win like 3 or 4 games real quick before we lose one and maybe slip into the tournament and get some momentum that way?
No, definitely. I like USC, man. As a little sprinkle to upset some
Ooh, or even
teams.
them. Yeah, like I
Boogie.
just went for the lowest team, like lowest team possible. I agree with you though. I if I could pick between the two, I would take USC over Oregon.
Yeah, I do like Oregon. I like that tenacity. USC, they got another experienced point guard that I'm in love with in Boogie Ellis, transfer from Memphis, man. Um, I definitely like. Yeah, I think it's yeah, man. I can't wait for this Pac-12 tournament. So I got UCLA, USC. You got UCLA or
I'll take USC too, man. Like I said, Oregon. Like I do like Oregon. I will admit, like I could see potentially there's some universe out there where they'll do it, but yeah, like I think it's UCLA or USC. I think those two schools have impressed me the most out of the Pac-12, and they're both tournament teams that could easily go on a run with who they got. Especially. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement there for that one. I don't think that one was too hard.
yeah. I think we're gonna do the same with this Big 12. I think once you get past, I mean, anybody in this top five, I think can win it. Uh, Everybody loves Iowa State. However, they lost four straight. I don't see them making any
Oh,
noise.
who is those people? No, I'm just playing. I don't know though. Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think for that bracket, I think if anybody's gonna do it, like West Virginia, I could see just because of the coach and the fact that they're in a position where they're gonna make the tournament. I don't even know how. So I could see them as like a long
Right.
shot potentially, like making some damage. But I'm assuming that you and I probably have the same three picks: Kansas, Baylor, TCU. I'm assuming one of those three.
I love Kansas. I love Baylor. The third
TCU
team.
is probably just for me. I would
I
say.
love TCU. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm going with Texas. I think
Not
Texas.
Texas Christian. No
Nah,
Christian, just straight Texas.
nah. I'm gonna be honest. The refs gave TCU the game the other night against Texas. I'm not mad at it. I think Texas should have won that game. I also think Texas. They lose two straight. I think they have the tenacity. Honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy, and I hope people don't take this out of context. Number 10, I think his last name is Rice for Texas. They showed him on the bench during the game, and he had the look of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Like I do not want to lose. I'm not saying he has the game of these cats, but just the attitude and the tenacity. I feel
Like
like
that
this
meme mode.
yeah, and then Marcus Carr is full of energy. I feel like if he could ever, I don't know, man. Something about this Texas team, they got something special brewing. I love their coach. I love the attitude. It's like I don't know. It's like a poise, but it's like we at your grill. I think Texas can come through and
Something
make
I
some
think
noise.
yeah, I think they go based off that. I think one thing too, I think they're playing for their coach because it's been I don't want to say like widely rumored, but it's been basically like well thought out that like he's probably not coming back and getting the job. Like no matter what he does, it would take probably like a Final Four Elite Eight run. I think Texas just like for whatever reason they probably just don't feel like they. I think they basically come out as like we love the job he's doing, but like all the insiders like they love the job he's doing. Nothing against him. It's just after the whole Beard situation, they're probably just going to look elsewhere. So I mean, I potentially think also too that Texas has a little bit of that. Hey, like we really like this dude. Let's try to get this dude a job. And if they do have that, and truly, then that team could be dangerous because I hate. It's like they say in the good old thing about the bars. The guy with nothing to lose in the fight. I think he's nothing
No,
to lose. I mean, what are they going to lose? I think Texas really. I agree with you. I think they have a really good shot. And just something basically to say on top. Props to the I forget the dude's name. I hate it, but props to the Texas coach, man. He
Rodney
stepped
Perry.
in an impossible running. Yeah, he stepped in an impossible situation and handled it mightily. I'm not going to say anything about Alabama's coach because there's been a lot of people out there saying like how he's handled situations and like kind of questionable. Good job to the Texas coach for being able to like. I know it's not nearly the same, obviously, but good job to the Texas coach being able to just step in there and basically not blink an eye and just go roll with the punches and everything. Terrific
No,
job.
I've shouted him out at least 3 or 4 times on this show just because I've been so impressed with the fact that um, 22-8, stepping into that situation, unheard of. When he stepped into the situation, everybody was like, "Oh, this team's gonna fall, be 16 and 15." But he like you said, man. Shouts out to him. I feel like if he was gonna get I feel like if he was gonna get the job, they would have already gave it to him. But
Mhm.
I also, man, it's hard to say sometimes. Like you said though, there's nothing to lose. The coach is like, I might not even be here next year. You got fifth year seniors on the team. Like, F it, bro. We just gonna go all out, leave it all on the floor.
Let's just hoop.
Yeah, bro. Like, we not even worried about nothing past March. So let's just go out there and leave it on the line. Uh, I don't know though. It's hard to bet against Kansas. Baylor, I think, is one of the top teams in the country, much less the Big 12. But Texas is that team that I like to go on a little run. And like you said, bro, I know you love TCU. I love them too.
I don't know though. Like I said, everything I just said, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, I really like Kansas and Baylor. I mean, I think they're as of right now. I mean, with their teams are built. I don't know who's going to beat them. Honestly,
Head
they
and
got.
shoulders.
It's going to take a really bad game for them to lose. I feel like, especially when it comes to big tournament time, and I think it's really hard for them to have like completely terrible games. Obviously, it's possible, but they have, especially in Kansas, Kansas probably has the best coach in college basketball now. I want to say, like, I don't think it's if I say that, I don't think there's going to be somebody out there like, Coach K. Probably a lot of the older whites.
But you're talking about right now.
But no, as a joke, I'm just playing about you whites. I don't have anything against you. But no, like, I mean, listen, right now, he has what? I think 2 championships at least, right? 1 or 2. I can't remember. I think might be just 1, but somewhere around 1 or 2. The big thing is a conference. 17 out of 20. Coach K did 13 and 43 or something like that, if I heard the stat right. Like, Bill Self has done an immaculate job at like coaching, and I think that's what's going to carry. Especially not only do they got like good guys, like they got a coach that legit. I don't want to say it's like almost a fear factor, but like there's no way you're telling me that other coaches or other players when they go like to play Kansas or go to play Baylor aren't intimidated by that dude standing on the sidelines. Like that dude, those dudes are menaces. Especially, I love the Baylor and Kansas coach. I saw the Baylor coach like 2 games ago. Like just this team was down and he just went off on a referee. And basically the second the ref teed him up, calmed completely down, kind of like shook his head, went back to the huddle, and the boys performed. Like they got some art. They got some magic arts over there that they're working with in the Big 12. And yeah, the 2 really good coaches that battle it out often. Like I think it might be a championship match since we're another one. Kansas Baylor, we might see it.
Yeah, Bill Self has 2 rings, 08 in last season.
Okay, I thought so. I thought they won in 08, but I didn't know if he was there or not for it. But the fact that he's 17 for 20, I'm sitting there like I thought he might have to be there for it.
Yeah, he's been there.
Yeah, it doesn't have as many as Coach K, but the winning you can't put aside the winning. That's the biggest thing from this. Like this dude's a winner.
Nah, yeah, and when you're talking about best coach right now, Coach K is retired. I think Bill Self is head and shoulders above any other coach in the active. I'll just say that. As far as accomplishments, as far as what he's done. Let's move on over to the other big conference, Big East. I got you there, huh? You thought I was going Big Ten.
Man, I tell you what.
I know you did.
Georgetown. Book it. Nah, I figured Big East. I already had the Big East pulled up,
man. Georgetown, baby.
You can't see it that much.
Nah, I got I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna go with my guys. Winners of 4 straight. Give me UConn, baby. I think UConn is the best.
Whoa.
I think UConn is the best team in this conference. I think UConn is a top 4 team in the country. I think they had a shaky January and early February, but I think they're back to rolling. I think they're back to that 14-0 team that started the season that beat Alabama. And I think they're on a mission. They won 4 straight. I can see them running through this tournament and going into the big tournament with some momentum.
Yeah, we finally got one where we kind of disagree a little bit. I mean, I could definitely see UConn doing it because there was a reason they were really. I mean, if you watch them at the beginning of the season, they had a little bit of a slide towards the middle, but at the end, like you said, winners of 4 straight. I think my pick's going to be the winners of 5 straight, and the first-time conference champs since 2013, and with Shaka Smart and the Marquette. Them boys, man, I think it's between them and X for me right now. I really like the way those 2 teams played, and for whatever reason, I just feel like it's a magical season for Marquette. I think Shaka Smart has a great group of guys that are all, I think, semi-young too. I think a lot of them are sophomores. Even they might be like redshirt juniors or like stuff like that. But like redshirt sophomore stuff like that. But they got a lot of young guys that I think they played really well. I mean, I don't think I have to say anything. They're 15-1 at home, 8-4 away, 24-6 overall. I mean, like they won the conference outright. I think basically they should. If not, they're at least going to get a share. I think.
They won it outright. I already got paid for my future.
Yeah, I mean, I might be rambling a little bit, but I don't know how to put it into words. That like I just like the way their team's built. I think they have a very well-rounded team that I don't know if they're officially like defensive minded first, but I think that their defense leading their offense really, really well, and that carries you really far.
That's what
playing
Shaka
guys.
Smart has his team doing, man. They're playing pressure defense. They're one of the best defenses in the country. They turn teams over. They get out and run. Their offense is created from their energy on defense. I do love this Marquette team. I filled out the projected bracket on Wednesday. I believe I texted you this. I actually have Marquette in my Final Four right now if the bracket stands how it is. So I definitely
The odds
am
for them are plus 550. By the way, I was shocked. I'm like,
to go to the
that is
Final
not
Four.
as high. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was shocked. I'm like, I feel like I should be higher. I'm like, man, these boys, like, that's what made me realize, like, man, these guys might be serious. Like the odds makers, I can double check to see if it changed. But yeah, last time I looked, it was like plus 550, and I'm like, wow, that I thought it'd be like I was ready to bet on it. I'm like, oh, they're gonna be like plus because you mentioned like the Final Four, and I was kind of feeling that myself. I'm like, let me just look at the odds because like if it's good, I might take it. And yeah, it was like 550. It was shockingly low. I'm like, wow, they really respect this team. Yeah,
no,
right now, okay, it's 550 still. Yeah, just crazy.
no, that is very short for a Marquette team. I feel like the bookmakers. I think this is the one thing about sports gambling that gets overlooked a little bit. Regency hype and bias. Because when I bet them to win the Big East, they were the fourth or fifth favorite to even win the Big East, and it was plus 2,000. And I feel like if I would have got the Final Four ticket that same day, it would have been plus five or six
Oh,
thousand.
yeah,
And it's crazy that now that they won the Big East, and a lot of people are talking about them. And I don't even know if the
right.
bookmakers believe that they're going to do it, but I feel like the bookmakers don't want to take the risk of putting plus
Exactly.
2,000 and a bunch of people just jumping on it
I would have
just
done. I was.
because.
That's what I was
Yeah.
looking for. I was waiting for a 1-2,000.
No, and I think they understand how bettors bet, and so they was like, man, we're gonna put this a little short. People are gonna steer away from it at plus 550, and if nobody bets it, we don't even have to worry about it. And I think that's a way bookmakers look these days, especially with the social media and viral things. All it takes is one person to tweet out Marquette plus 3,000 to win the Final Four, and 100,000 people, depending on their
Yeah,
following,
exactly.
jumps on that ticket with them. Um, Marquette is the second team I have written down. I had UConn or Marquette in this thing. I think Providence. I think away from home, they're a little weak. Not that they're weak, but I think they have something about that home court advantage. Uh, and they win close games, man. And at the end of the day, you're gonna lose one of them games by one instead of winning by one. Same thing with Creighton and Xavier. I love Creighton and I love Xavier. Love the coaches McDermott and Miller. I just feel like the talent on those teams is missing. Not
Yeah,
missing,
they need.
like they have talent,
They have
but
talent. They need like one or two more pieces. I feel.
yeah,
I just wanted to cut you off too real quick. If you want to hear, so Xavier, Providence, Creighton. That's how I'm going to read this. Xavier, Providence, Creighton against you guys. That's how I'm going to read it down. So this is their home streaks. So Xavier, Providence, Creighton, 14-2, 15-1, 13-2. And like you said, now the road splits. 7-4, 6-6, 4-6. So yeah, that home court is just some like mystical valley that teams come into and just get lost in the forest. And then they go back on the road game, they emerge from the forest a little bit, and they aren't as intimidating as they are at home. So I mean, you're exactly right to that point. And exactly, they play a lot of close games. So one bad close road game, and I think the rest of the game's a neutral site now for the rest of the season. So
yeah. This tournament's gonna be in Madison Square
yo,
Garden, the mecca of basketball. I also the reason I love UConn also is because I think they have the most NBA talent on their team, and playing in the Garden seems to bring the best out of the best. It's a place that every kid dreams to play in one day. I definitely had a dream of playing there one day. Even going to a game in Madison Square Garden is on my bucket list. I think you see UConn turn into another monster. I think they're underrated right now. In everything in the tournament, in this tournament, the fact that they're only 12-7 in the Big East has a lot of people that only look at numbers with a sour taste on them. But this team is serious.
I agree. I'm definitely scared of them. Their
Let's
coach is
go.
really good too. By the way, before we move on, I love their coach. I forget his name. I think it's like Dan Hurley. I
Yeah,
want to say, love that dude.
yeah. I love. Every time they put the camera on him, I just want to shake his hand and go get a beer. I swear, he
No,
just looks
I
like the guy that you would love to hang out with on the weekend.
looks like the guy you would love to play for too. Honestly, he seems like he's one of those coaches that like behind the scenes, like he'll be like he'll give hugs and kisses to all of his guys, but then when he's on the court, he's flipping out, like throwing punches.
Yeah.
I love his energy. The dude has great energy.
Nah, yeah. I think he's definitely one of those coaches that knows how to. I think he knows how to get his point across and his message across. Um, I think he can say whatever he wants to these kids, and the way he says it, it'll be like, oh, all right. But let's move on. I have this in a weird order. I got the SEC
And
next.
the SEC, all right.
Um, I kind of went a little crazy with this one. I got four teams written down. None of them which you probably can guess. The SEC, I think, is
Probably.
more wide open than people think, man. You got teams like Florida who are way down on the totem pole that have a chance to win this. You got teams like Arkansas, who's right above them, who supposedly are going to get rolling here. You got teams like Mississippi State at 20-10 on the season. Auburn, Vanderbilt even has some kind of magic about them. Missouri, and then you have the top four,
A&M,
of course.
second in conference that nobody said a word about all season, basically.
Yeah, that's one of the teams I got is Texas A&M. Tennessee breaks my heart, man. I honestly, this is weird to say. I don't root for Tennessee. I love betting against Tennessee. I dislike Tennessee. I dislike Rick Barnes, but I want to see them fully healthy and lose rather
Yeah,
than.
did you I did before we continue, did you see that like the injury to him?
Yeah, that's
Like
why
did you see
I'm.
the video of it?
No, I don't
Terrible,
watch that
man.
shit.
I just saw because it ended up like on my timeline, man. Like yeah, that shit's so sad. Like it was one of those like instant, like, yep, that shit torn. Yeah, I agree with you, man. That's just so sad. Because Tennessee probably was like leaning to be my pick because I like the way they play defense. But I think for me, yeah, I think I'm going A&M. I think they've been slept on all year. They've been the quiet little underdog. And my sole reasoning for this, I'm going to say this probably 3 or 4 more times in the show. I think the noise is going to get to Alabama. It's starting to get really loud. People are questioning Nate Oates' leadership. Other people are questioning, like, not to touch on it too much. Brandon Miller had the whole pat down thing that yes, he's done all season, but you look at it from very far outside. It's like, damn man, like they got Alabama has a lot going on, and for those fellow sports people who know how this world works, the noise will eventually get you. One of those kids are going to crack, and then it's going to just, even if it's not the kids, even if it's somebody on the coaching staff, somebody's going to crack, and it's just going to mess up everything. So I think even though they've had a great, amazing season, it's just they got too much going on. So I feel like that's why I think like it's going to be Texas A&M or Kentucky that end up just stealing this somehow, and everyone's going to look back and be like, man, Bama
That's
was
crazy
going
you
all
say
year,
that. That's
but
the two teams I
how
was
they get
thinking: Kentucky and Texas A&M.
Kentucky's just been too bad all year, man. Like they're due to like they just lost their last game. They're 20-10, 11-6 in conference. Like they're due to finally like just get right, man. Like that
No,
pen gone, bro.
I know, right? I wish they had a. I got it though. I wish they had a. I don't feel like looking it up, but I wish I could look at their last 10 games. I feel like they've been getting hot.
I
In,
think so.
in
I
the
think they've
month of
won
February.
winning a lot more recently.
Yeah, I
Like
think before this one loss, they was on like a 6 game winning streak. Honestly, I could be wrong. Definitely be
or
wrong.
something like that.
Um, I just think they have too much talent, man. Kentucky is where players go to the NBA. I think something's been missing this season and last season. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's just. I don't know what it is. I cannot put my finger on it. Like
I
last
can't
season.
tell if I was gonna say just I think it's either personally for me. It's like I don't know if it's like they need a better shooting point guard or they need a more like ball dominant like small forward like type. Those are the two holes I feel like they're missing. Like they need somebody who is, I feel like, going to score a little more on like the wings so they can take more off Oscar Tshiebwe. But I agree with you, man. This Kentucky team's just been funky the last 2 years. Beginning of the season, people were trying to get that man Calipari fired. Those people look funny now. That's all I want to say. I trust me. I still remember a few of those people. I saw. I was like, man, I don't know why Calipari still has a job here. It's like, bro, you guys are
I'm gonna be
all right.
honest, man. I love Calipari. I love what he did at Memphis, and I love what he done at Kentucky. But it is to the point where you're at Kentucky. You're not at Baylor or Memphis to where any success is okay. You're at Kentucky.
Yeah,
We show up in these stands to watch wins. We show up in these stands to watch national championships. And 20-10 is a failure for a Kentucky team any year, no matter what year it is.
which
Um,
is crazy to think about because most teams would take that any year they could, especially in the Big Ten. Like you went 20-10 in the Big Ten, you're probably number one
yeah,
with how
definitely.
competitive that league is.
No, it's a crazy double standard, man, and some fan bases just have that. It's really Kentucky. I honestly, out of all the schools, Kentucky is the main one though. Like a lot of schools give a little leniency, like okay, Coach K is gone at Duke. All right, UCLA hasn't been UCLA in years. Kansas, Bill Self is gonna do his thing, but Kentucky really has that. Like, nah, bro, you need to win every
Yeah,
game, every game. And you need to bring us players that we can root for. You need to bring us players that are going to the league. And I think he's just had a bad talent pool the last 2 seasons because, like you said, he brings in these guards, these wings that are projected to be top 25 in the country prospects, and they just don't pan out to be that. And I don't know if it's game planning going through Oscar to where they get out of rhythm. I don't know what it is, man. I can't put my finger on it, and usually I can. But I do think Tucky gets right. Two long shots I really want to talk about is Missouri and Vanderbilt, and we don't have not Vanderbilt, no, Vanderbilt and Wake Forest.
Ooh.
Wake Forest is in the
Wake-
ACC. Let me shut up
Yeah.
real quick. I wrote
I
them
was saying,
down
like,
in
wait,
the SEC.
well, I'm looking for. I'm like, wait, Wake's in the SEC now? Nah, I feel you, bro. I was having that issue on my show, man. Like between like and especially for me, between college basketball, man, like and college football, like bro, one school's in the SEC and this then they're an ACC for that, but the NIOC for this, like that shit too confusing for me.
You know what fucks me up the most, bro? Iowa and Iowa State. I always think they're both in the Big Ten every time. Like I
Yeah,
know,
because it would make sense, right?
it
Makes sense, but
I know now that they're
nope.
not, but I still like it trips me up.
I had
So
to think of that for a second too. Like, what?
yeah, they Big 12, but I do it all the time. Um, Kentucky and Texas A&M, man, that's the two teams we got. I agree with you on the noise about Alabama. It's gonna get to a point where everywhere you go, every crammer, every media player, and every player, every fan in the crowd is gonna eventually break you.
And it's not like it's not, and it's just because and it's just because of the way they like. I don't want to say like they mishandled it because he wasn't charged, but like yet again, not I don't know anything about the situation, so I could just be totally talking wrong. It's just the fact that people are going to be like, well, if I was in that situation, I could handle it like that, and a lot of people are going to agree with that, so then that's why it's going to get so loud and everything. Like this whole situation, like, is just something that at the end of the day should have been avoided. It wasn't avoided, and now it's just like I hate to say it, but 2 or 3 kids is just dumb, irrational decision for maybe like 20, 30 minutes is going to affect this team's season. Because, yeah, I agree with you totally. It's going to get beyond loud. I think people, especially because Brandon Miller's still playing. And now that he's a part of this, if he's not a part of this, whatever it is, his name's on it. He's the face of it. He's the only one they have to talk about it. Same with Nate Oates. So those two are going to get it the worst. And now their teammates are going to be like, hey, why did Nate Oates do this? Or, hey, why did Brandon Miller do this? And where's on you, man? Because I see that stuff happen all the time in the NFL where one guy does something and then the whole rest of the season, all they do is try to ask him to try to get that one clip for their one media site. So I
It,
just hope that Alabama can be tougher than I assume they will be. But I just think that at a certain point, like, it's just going to wear them down, man. They just need to get I hate to say it, but they just need to get the next season, get all this behind them, and just from a sports standpoint, not from a human standpoint.
no, but from a human standpoint, it's one of those things where you learn as a kid. You do something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
admit it, take accountability, apologize, man up. I think if Nate Oates and Brandon Miller would have just came out and said, I am heartbroken at what happened.
Yeah, I think they
It
should have showed a little more humanity too. I agree. I think they
yeah,
did a little bad
that,
job of just kind of like, we're sports.
yeah. Even if it's not your fault, take the accountability. I'm the coach. I should be watching these kids, not watching them, but like I take accountability for these kids. I take accountability for actions. Brandon Miller should have came out and just at least said something like how horrible he feels. It's a learning experience. I'll learn from it moving forward. I'll try to be a better person off the court and on the court. But they just, like you said, they just try to ignore it like a little kid that broke a lamp and hope their mama don't notice. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, dude, this woman's life is gone. And y'all just sitting here acting like basketball is the only thing that matters right now.
Yeah, and just like to end this point because we don't need to get I just like first off I like being one of those shows like I know this is tough to talk about but I mean it's real life shit we got to deal with it but biggest thing I just like to end it off I just think that like I agree with you because they handled it so poorly that like the worst part too is like it's with their family like her family my apologies that was my phone our family basically just like her family just came out and they were I don't know what the right word to use. I'm just gonna use like heartbroken, almost like from the response. Like we thought, like you said, we're terrible. Like they understand like it's a terrible situation happened and all that, but just like man, just the response from Alabama in this programming is just like disappointed us completely. And like for most people, like oh, shut up, you're just blah blah blah. But like it's for real, man. Like I hate to say it, but Alabama handled this poorly. They finally have a basketball school that like I mean they finally are like kind of a basketball school. And the basketball's going up, so I think instead of thinking about the humanity, taking a step back and being like, hey, if we get in front of this, we can handle it a little bit better. They're just kind of like, our basketball season's going. We might be able to just play so well that it gets
Yeah.
behind. And nope,
We
that's not
might
how
win
that
a
stuff
national
works.
championship. Like, dude, just take a week off from that and let's address this and move forward. I think like I said, and like you just said, if they would have did that in January,
Or even suspended. Sorry to cut it off. Or even suspended Brandon Miller like a game. Like they could have even done like 1 or 2 games to like show like, hey, we know he's had issues like these issues. Like, hey, we're gonna give him just a minute or two to step away to show that he is thinking about it, doing that. Like there's so many things they could have done, man. I could go on forever about that.
nah. And I think if they did anything we just said, even the fans and the world would have got behind them and understand that it's just one player that made a bad decision. Instead of now, I feel like they look at the whole Alabama team like y'all did
Like
this.
yeah, exactly. Like man, like it and it all like I hate to say it, but it all comes on Nate Oates. Like Nate Oates wasn't the one who did any of this, but he's the father figure to these young guys, and so like and he's said some very questionable things in some news conferences. I'm not going to touch on that. Even he regrets, like, yeah, I probably should have worded that better. I just and so that then that goes on. Oh, did they prepare enough to talk about this? Like, did they tell him to like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
are
little
they not
messy.
taking it serious behind the media? Like this is a
Yeah,
serious
it's
matter. Are y'all really just eating lunch, laughing it up, not even talking about it?
yeah, it's terrible, man. This is the dark side of sports that happens now. And best part, I mean, not the best part, but like the funny part about all this is we just spent all this talking about it. Like, oh, what does this have to do with anything? This is going to be why Alabama doesn't win if they win. It's because the noise gets too loud because they have a very very talented team, but no matter what happens when they lose, it's going to get all drawn back to this now, and that's all the season's going to be remembered by. Even if they win the national championship, they're going to be like, hey, remember when Darius Miles and Brandon Miller did this?
No,
So what's going to turn into?
they're labeled thugs now, and I hate to say it because a lot of them kids are probably good kids, man.
Sports part two, yeah, they've come out and Brandon Miller's like very nice kid. Like he's done like before all this, they're like, oh, he was a nice kid. Like he very caring, like very open about stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, like I mean, nobody's gonna care. You got this on your name forever now, man. I hate to say it.
Nah, I think it's gonna follow him to the league a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on
Sad, bro.
to the most prestigious conference in the world, the Atlantic Coast ACC, baby. I think there's 20 teams in this conference that can win this tournament.
I wish I was about to say I wish no team could win this conference, man. Like their conference like put up a poor effort this year. I hate to say it. Like they man, UACC boys. Like I'm not gonna talk trash because like it's just one of those years for them, but it was a bad year for the ACC. I'm just that's all I gotta say about. It. I mean, oh wait, are we on the American Athletic? Am I? Was I saying the wrong one?
yeah, we on ACC: Duke, North Carolina, Miami,
Oh,
Virginia,
my
Pittsburgh.
fault. I pulled up the AAC. That's what messed me up. That's why I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
You
I'm
looking
like,
at
wait, I'm
Houston
not
and
trashing.
Memphis and
Yep.
Tulane?
Yeah. So, I mean, Houston's gonna win that one. All right, that one's done. No,
That's
but
why,
back to
yeah, that's
ACC.
why I wasn't even gonna talk about it. But Memphis, man,
Yeah,
they got a shot if we want to talk
they
about
do.
it.
No, I agree with you though. I think that like, bro, it's gonna be some dumb stuff where UNC ends up winning the conference tournament and getting the auto bid that way. Like, it's gonna be something like that this tournament. I mean, anybody could win. I would say except for maybe Florida State, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Louisville. But I mean, you never know, man. Like ACC has been so bad this year. Like their number one team's Miami, and their conference record is 14-5, tied with two other schools, and then it's 13-6, 12-8, 11-8. Like all these schools are legit, just like right here, and they're just basically just fighting off in the mud in no man's land.
No, you said it best, man. I'm trying to go for the quadruple. I got the Big East Marquette ticket that cashed. I got the UCLA Pac-12 ticket that cashed. I got the Kansas Big 12 ticket that cashed. All that plus money. Virginia plus 700 is the last one I got. I got Michigan State too, but I gave up on that a few weeks ago. Um,
Virginia might get that.
they got one game left, man. I need Miami and Pittsburgh to lose and Virginia to do their damn thing. I'm so mad that they went on that little slide that they went on. Before they won one, I think they lost two or three straight.
Yeah, and they were scoring like 40 a game for like 2 or 3 games. That's why I'm not picking them. Virginia showed me a dark side of them that I do not want to witness. That I had to crossover sports. That reminded me of the Colts. I don't know why. I just saw the low score and the bad play, and I'm like, hey, I don't like that. I'm not gonna be part of that. I don't know about you. I think my picks
Go
against
ahead, because
Miami,
my two
but
picks are ridiculous and nobody's going to win
I'm just
them.
gonna. I said it on my show, so I gotta stand by it that way. I'm just gonna pick Miami because they're at the top of the leaderboards. They've done. I mean, we're looking. I'm gonna read maybe Duke because they're the hottest. I could see them doing something, but these streaks are crazy in this league. One loss, one win, one loss, one. win 5, lost 1, lost 2, win 3, lost 1, lost 4. Like nobody's like they're all over the map and everything. I'm just gonna pick Miami. They're the leader in the conference, I guess. I mean, hey, they're number one for a reason, right? It's their tourney.
Now,
I mean, I don't got anything for the conference. I don't know.
I love Miami. Like I said on Marquette, I also have Miami in my Final Four that I text you. Um,
Yes, sir.
I love Miami. I love this team. However, in the ACC tournament, I think that they are the big thing about these tournaments that we haven't even touched on yet, and we're 45 minutes in. The teams that have automatic bids, like Miami, is already going to be a top 4 or 5 seed. Arizona, UCLA are always going to be a 1 and 2
And
seed.
how much do they care?
Right. It's going to be the teams that are trying to prove something that come in and really play. So I think a lot of teams, you got Clemson, North Carolina State, North Carolina, of course, Wake Forest. I think a lot of these teams are going to try and make a statement in this conference. But the one team that I like above all of these teams that nobody is talking about, turn around from the worst team in the conference last season to the 3rd seed right now, tied for first, Pittsburgh and Jeff Cable, baby. Let me get Pittsburgh to go on a run.
I can see it. I mean, tell us, why do you like Pittsburgh? About that school. They were last year. Why are they here? What's happening?
They've turned things around. They got some twins that I can't wait to see them next season. They're Chet Holmgren skinny. I think if these twins put on some weight, but what these team does do, man, they play tough. Like you're not gonna go in and just get to the lane on this team. They're gonna force you to take outside shots, which turns them into a rebound, run and gun team. Pittsburgh has a great point guard that knows how to get everybody involved. They got some big men that know how to hoop, like not just get buckets, but actually know how to hoop, know how to position themselves, know how to set back screens. Pittsburgh is just a fundamental team at 21-9. I'm surprised they're going under the radar. They have a winning record on the road and at home. And again, they're tied for first place in the ACC. And I guarantee you, nobody, and I mean nobody, thought Pittsburgh would do that. Honestly, I think it was December 30th. It was a Friday. The date might be off. They beat North Carolina. And I was like, okay, we got to take this team serious. And kind of in the back of my head, I didn't even believe it. And then North Carolina went on a horrible run, and I was like, oh, it's just North Carolina. It's not Pittsburgh. But then I look up 3 weeks later, and Pittsburgh is doing it against everybody. To only have 5 losses in the ACC, which is having a down year, but the ACC is still stacked as far as coaches and talent goes. I love Pittsburgh. I think that they can get some things done. I love Miami and Virginia. I think Pittsburgh is that team, though, that could just come in and be hungry to where, like, no, we want to prove that we should be tied for first.
Something I should just to add the icing to the cake, too. They're the only team besides Miami in the whole conference that has a positive, or I guess Virginia does too, but theirs isn't as clean. It's basically 500. They're the only team with a good away record, so that's something nice to just keep in the back of your head going to all these tourneys. They're 7-4, same with Miami, and then there's Virginia 6-5, and then that's it.
No, I'm gonna tell you an old saying, man. Defense travels, offense doesn't. Pittsburgh, they play some tenacious defense. They're an underrated defensive team. The long shot in this conference, however, that I have, and I know this is biased. I always tell you if it's biased before I say it. Everything in my heart needs and wants my Orangeman of Syracuse.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Mike Brey. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I want Mike Brey so bad.
No, I love Mike Brey too, man. But
he's going out bad this year. I on a note to your Orangeman, man, I have never had a team. I think this year especially pissed me off more game to game than your Orangemen. I've been watching, man. There'll be a game they win by 20. It's like, man, bro, these Orangemen, like,
they about to get it going.
Next game, play like Virginia Tech or somebody, lose by 30. It's like, who are these guys? And the next game, win by 20. Next game, lose by 45. It's like, bro, who are they? No, I feel you though. I think they're I think the coaching for them is what if they're going to get over. It's going to be the coaching and the star-studded play from number 11. I was waiting for it,
bro. Number 11, they have I really don't even want to get on this shit, bro. This man, I'm gonna say it in 2 sentences instead of 8. Big Dookie trash. Please get the hell out of a Syracuse uniform. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, I think he's
I
really
knew that
the
would get a
the
pop.
weak link. They got Jesse Edwards, who I mean, he's not an offensive center, but he's a dominant, lengthy, lob catching, rebounding, defensive monster. You got wing players that are honestly more talented than they get credit for because they got a point guard that don't know how to get them the damn ball. And honestly, man, I think that's their downfall is this point guard.
His
Um,
assist numbers are pretty trash, I will admit.
he's a shoot first guard and he can't shoot.
He cannot shoot. I'm looking at some of these numbers.
Yeah, he shoots in bulk too, which makes it even worse. Like
Yeah, 11 for 21, 9 for 16, 10 for 20.
he just jacks him, bro. And it's not even about the percentage. It's about the shot selection. Anytime like we really need a good possession, he just comes and shoots a quick three, and I'm like, oh my god, do you not understand the game, bro? You can cut this down to 5 if you just run the set and get a layup, but instead you're gonna jack a three, and now you get a long rebound leading to a fast break, and now you're down 9. Like, come on, man.
I'm happy. That got about the reaction I thought it would. I was trying to set it up. I'm like, how can I lob this up so I can bring in number 11 to talk about his orange bench? That's why I'm like, oh, 20, 30.
You know what makes me the maddest? As much as I dislike this kid, he's a college kid. All credit to him. I hope he has a beautiful life. I'm glad he got to play college
Yeah.
hoops and live his dream.
We're talking about the player, not the person. By the way,
Yeah.
So in case all the fans at home are wondering,
Yeah, I hate talking trash about college kids, especially me being a grown man. However,
I'm here. You can do it. I'm a college kid. We got it.
if he just leaves, he's been playing for like 6 seasons. I remember
Yeah.
2 seasons ago we had Richardson, who now is the point guard of Seton Hall. And every time Richardson came off the bench, I was like, bro, start this man. Why is this man not running the damn game, bro? And instead, because he started writing on the wall, he transfers, and I'm just stuck with this kid. Buddy Boheim, yeah, he's a coach's son, but that kid was amazing, and his college was ruined by number 11.
I was about to say he's not even on the team anymore. I forgot about that.
Nah, he lost his. Ridiculous, bro. The other thing
Yeah,
I hate about
COVID.
Syracuse is that the ACC is used to the zone. The zone usually disrupts teams out of the ACC. So I don't know, man. I need Orange to go on a run just for my own fandom. But at the end of the day, I like
Before
Pittsburgh.
we move on real quick for your Orange Men, how many games do you think they have to win in this conference tourney to make the?
Everyone.
Oh, they got to win it out. Like they're. I mean, yeah, I was looking at the record. That's what made me wonder. It's like they don't have the worst record, but
I mean, I could see a case where they get to the final game and lose, and they still might make it. But I honestly
okay,
think
they got to go.
I think they got to win everyone.
Man.
If they come up short of of the final game, they definitely not making it.
Now, do you still feel the same about the retirement of your coach if they don't make the tourney this year? Do you think he at least tries one more year of it?
I hope that number 11 leaves and Boheim has one season. I swear to God, it just sounds horrible.
Bring it back to number 11.
No, I swear to God, I hope his last season and his last 4 or 5 seasons isn't tainted by number 11. They could, like they could have had so much success in this last 4 or 5 seasons. And by so much success, I just mean a few Elite Eights, maybe a few Sweet 16s.
Like winning 1 or 2 extra games, but like
yeah,
those are probably big games, honestly.
no, definitely, bro.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart, man. Watching this kid just ruin Syracuse's everything, bro. But I hope he comes back one more year with a new point guard. But then at the end of the day, I don't know, man. I think his time is up. I think the writing's on the wall. I think even Syracuse faithful is like, all right, bro. We've been giving you this little farewell tour for 7 seasons now. We really just done with you, dog. It was nice watching you and your kids play. We thought you was gonna leave after that. Now you still hanging around.
I just say I thought he was done. The kids were done, so I'm surprised he's still even going.
Yeah, that's my guy though, man. Syracuse. I love Syracuse. I love Boheim. When him and Izzo lead the game, it'll be an empty spot for the rest of my life in college basketball. Even Bray, man. All 3 of them, man. 3
That's
coaches
crazy.
that I'm gonna miss. I'm not even gonna miss Coach K. I miss Roy Williams a little bit. I miss Jay Wright a little bit. I think Coach K retired at not the right time, but he retired
Had a good.
where it's like you don't want to see any more of them. You don't miss them. I feel like Boheim and Izzo, I'm a miss, man.
And I think it's also, I feel like you're kind of saying that because we had to deal with a Fair World Tour Coach K where it felt like he gave a speech at every game he was at, saying thank you guys for the fanhood and everything.
Yeah.
It definitely, I think it was overdone, but I mean, he kind of deserved it. He was a really good coach. So it's like you can't talk on it too much, but I do get this. And it's like, yeah, that last season there was a lot of Coach K around. Like, oh, this is Coach K's last game. It's his last game when it's 45 degrees out and he's playing the Syracuse Orange at 6:30 at night. It's like, okay, we can just say it's his last game, get the Orange, but I get it. We gotta take it all in.
Nah,
Yeah, again, no beef with Coach K, by the way. I just thought it was funny how they covered
oh,
it.
no, I already know. I will say the only difference, Coach K has been coaching since I think 82 or 84.
Yeah, he's been there for a minute. So
that's an extra decade longer than Boeheim and Izzo. Not that really means much, but I mean that's really like 4 or 5.
And he did all the USA stuff too. So like he really was like
basketball
year round
legend. Yeah. I honestly this ain't got shit to do with nothing we talking about. But I low key hate the fact that Boeheim was an assistant on those teams only because I think he gave Coach K all the insights on how to beat the zone.
Maybe. Like, hey, I'm just saying, like, if I ran this zone, like, we'd be able to get it, like, right here.
Yeah, I think Coach K was like, I think Coach K was like, hey, Jim, you want to come help me with this USA basketball team? And in the back of his head, he's like, I got him. I'm going to figure this damn
got the zone broken down. Damn near, maybe. You were right. We should have hammered the over.
Yeah.
Like, well, I think we're through most of them, though, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I only got 2 more. We ain't got to do one. I always say my favorite for last, and that is the Big Ten. I mean, if you want to talk Mount West, we can talk Mount West. I got 2 teams that aren't the favorite in it.
I mean, we can touch on Mountain West quickly right now. I don't care. Because, like, yeah, I looking at Boise State, huge win against San Diego State. My 2 are probably going to be, just because of that win solely, I think I like Boise or Utah State. I think especially because I've heard you talk about Utah State a lot, and it's made me at least, like, kind of lean in and look at them a little bit, and they're in 23-7 on the bubble team, so they need a big tournament run.
Yeah, the reason I love this conference and I love watching this conference is because they have the depth of a power conference, but they don't get the bids of a power conference. Like they probably have 5 teams that should be in the tournament, but only 2 or 3 are gonna make it. So the conference tournament becomes that much bigger. Like teams like, I mean, honestly, San Diego State, Boise State, Utah State, Nevada, and New Mexico, and even
New Mexico is below San Jose, and they are 21-9, but San Jose has 1 more conference win than them, so they're above them at 18-12. Like that's crazy.
Now, New Mexico is my pick to win this game, man. If you look at some certain metrics, and this is why metrics and stats mean nothing to me in sports, but I've heard people on the radio like, if you look at this side of it, they're the best team in all of Division I basketball since February started. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like, that's literally like saying, I don't even know what that's like saying, but that's literally like, I don't know. That's like saying this quarterback completes 100% of his screen passes. Like, all right, bro.
Or it's like the stat, like, Patrick Mahomes is undefeated in September. Like, it's really cool, but it's like, it's 1 month.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel about it.
But like,
I love Utah State, man. Utah State is my favorite to win this tournament. I think they got the mojo going right now. Winners of 4 straight. But New Mexico is my dark horse, man. I got New Mexico doing some things, man. I love the way this team plays. I don't know if you watched it. I tweeted about it. I think it was last Saturday. They had the game of the year, New Mexico and San Diego State.
I watched like the last 2 minutes on some highlight stuff. So I saw that. It was a really cool ending.
The whole game was like that, man. It was back and forth. It was the most entertaining game I've watched all season. And I knew nobody was watching the game. Like, I knew while I was watching it, I was the only one on CBS Sports Network at 10 o'clock on Saturday night.
Yeah. Everyone's in bed, ready for work the next day. Like, we don't even want New Mexico.
Yeah, I had New Mexico +3 also in that game, and they lost by 1. So it was just eagerly exciting for me. Utah State and New Mexico would be the teams that I like out of this Mountain West. And again, I cannot wait to watch this tournament strictly because of what I just said. 2 teams that should be in the tournament aren't going to make it, and it's all going to be solely based on their conference tournament performances.
I'm excited for that too. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun, man. These conference tourneys.
No, I can't wait, man. I'm literally like on the edge of my seat, and we're still like a week away. I honestly, and
Ooh. They just updated bracketology. Sorry.
no, that's
I
cool,
know we
bro.
still got conference tournaments to go through, but
It's
keep going.
March
Sorry.
Madness, bro. We could talk for 3 hours on this bitch. I don't give a hot ham, bro. At the end of the day, it's Captain by a Hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, aka Rowan Dives. Our man JCP is here with me, and we are caught up in the madness. Got the flu.
But yeah, I was say if you were done with that point, I was just gonna say the one thing I care first, the new first four out: Arizona State, North Carolina, Michigan, Utah State. That order. That's
let's
that's
let's
all I was
let's
gonna touch
let's
on.
let's do this real quick. Let's just touch on this Big Ten, 5 to 10
Yeah,
minutes, and then I don't care how long we talk about this new bracketology update. One thing I was about to say, I wish that the I mean, of course, I wish everything was a week earlier. I don't know, man. I'm ready to get this thing going,
yeah.
bro.
That's kind of like how I am. I feel like it's just like I can only like. That's the only reason I was gonna bring that up for like the even tournament damn near. Because like a week from now, like conference tournaments are gonna be close to over and everything. None of this is gonna matter. Just very interesting. Now, the one thing I wanted to touch on that and the two 11 seed matchups. We got Nevada, Penn State versus Mississippi State and Wisconsin right now. That should be really interesting. But yeah, that's the only two things I want to touch about from bracketology. That's all I want to see. And then next four out: Oklahoma State, Clemson, Charleston, Oregon. I really just want to see the first four out, next four out, and then two 11 seeds.
Man, I might sound like I was about to say a bigot. I don't know if that's a bad word in this use. I feel like the last four in and the first four out should completely be switched.
I can see it.
I think Utah
Don't get an
State,
argument.
Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona State should be above all four of those teams. Mississippi
The only
State.
reason Wisconsin's there is because they lost to Purdue by 2 because they finally hit their threes for one game. I mean, they literally shot I think like 8 for 16 from 3, and they lost by 2. And I think that's what helped them boost a little bit. That's not me being salty about Purdue covering their spread or anything. That's just good old statistics. No, but I mean, while we're there, let's roll into the Big Ten, man. I'll take lead charge. This is my conference, the King of Kings, the King of the Midwest and the Upper North. We're talking streaks of one win streak. That's a 2 top of their conference. Third place, loss of 1. Fourth place, loss of 3. Fifth place, loss of 1. Like we're talking, you don't win 2-3 games in a row usually in the Big Ten. Purdue, my Purdue Boilermakers, the biggest choke artists in the Midwest. No, I'm just kidding. They aren't that bad. It is pretty irritating to watch. So they do got some young guards that I like Purdue to win the tourney, but I don't feel confident because their young guards have been questionable. Rotations. I watched a rotation last night that I don't know. I just learned too that Painter's starting new groups of people. Like he started first, like he'll start first Newman one night, and then maybe like Gillis and Fletcher Lawyer another night. So it makes me wonder what's going on with his tinkering. Makes me question Purdue. It's just like my biggest thing is with Purdue is these guards, man. Like I like the guards. I think they have some potential, but they can get colder than ice sometimes, not hit any shots. And then I just watched like Chucky Hepburn back down Braden Smith and then do a little post hook over him. That was a little irritating to watch. It's just I think Purdue has the best chance to win. I think they've put together. Everyone's gonna look at these last like few weeks and be like, "Oh, Purdue is blows. They're terrible." But realistically they've lost like 4 or 5 games to like very talented team. Take away what you want from Indiana. They have the talent there. Trace Jackson Davis played 2 of his best games. I mean, I lied. Trace Jackson Davis played 1 of his best games ever, and then a freshman scored 35. That's never, I think, happened before on Purdue, and they won. Like Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to be a guy the next couple of years. So I think, like, when I'm just going through this tourney, I mean, like, I won't lie to you. I'm picking Purdue just solely because they're my team, and I think any team could win this tournament. It's the same as the ACC. I think we can even have Nebraska win it and pull something completely out of their ass and win it because
They got your boy.
Yeah, that boy. We call him. I don't know if this is like. Yeah, I don't want to be like too disrespectful. Yeah, I don't want to be too disrespectful, but like we have a name for him. Might sound disrespectful, but I respect the hell of this dude's game. Bro's a 6 foot. Not same race as Stephen Curry. That just balls. That dude has a jumper. I mean, he has a green light from almost anywhere on the court too. Like, you got teams like that. You got teams like Wisconsin who have like Connor Seagen, Max Klesmit dropped 20 last night. Like they got sharpshooters there. You got teams like Northwestern with Boo Buie and the Josef Nurkic look alike down low. Big Ten has a lot of. I know gave a long-winded answer for a very short answer, but I just
No,
want you to express to the people that this conference literally means like nothing. Like Illinois should have lost to Michigan last night, somehow won, and they're second in conference. Michigan could easily beat Illinois if they played again. You got Iowa and
stare me down.
Mr. Fran stammering down McCaffrey that completely changed around their season after that stare down, like you said. It's just I think Big Ten
Big Ten
definition of a coin flip, basically.
Big Ten basketball is the best conference in basketball. Like you just said, I think anybody.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. One more thing too. We just had Rutgers lose last night to Minnesota in a game-winning shot. Minnesota 2-16 now in the conference. They were on a losing streak of, I want to say, immaculate proportions. They were losing a lot of games. I think they busted a 12-game losing streak on a game-winning shot because they just hit three threes in a row. The team turned over the ball. That's how it is in Big Ten ball. Anybody can win any single night.
No, like you just said, I think anybody besides Minnesota can win this tournament. Literally, I can see Ohio State. I can see Ohio State, Nebraska, Wisconsin. I mean, these are not bad teams. I think these teams. The bad part about being the best conference in basketball is that teams at the bottom, they get beat up by their own like people. Like if the Big Ten, if Ohio State's in, let's say the Big 12, they're probably third or fourth in the conference.
I don't know about Ohio State, but
You don't.
no, I'm just playing.
They're
I've watched three bad games from them. That's why I say that, and they beat me on two of those bets, playing terribly. So that's me being biased. No, I definitely agree. I think that anybody in this conference could. You put them in another conference, like, bro, you put Ohio State in like Houston's conference. They could do something similar to Houston did. Like you put Ohio State in the SEC. I think they could still be decent. I think they would. You can't tell me they wouldn't be 13-17 or better in the SEC. I think they'd be about the same. Like it's what you said. They'd beat up on each other so much, and then they play tournaments at the beginning of the year. Now I don't know if I think this is across college sports, but now you play your rival twice. Now Purdue's playing IU twice a year. That's gonna be two. That's two tough games automatically every single year.
It's been like that.
Michigan State. Has it been two for a while now?
Since I
It was. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they might have added in another one. Then you might have to play two teams twice now. There's something new they added where, I don't think
you play everybody twice, bro.
Do you? I might just be dumb then. I could have sworn that you only played like some schools once for the longest time. But yeah,
Every conference, bro, plays everybody twice, at home and on the road.
I did not know that. I thought it was. I guess I looked at something. I might just be stupid then when it comes to looking at schedules. I might not know what I'm talking about at that point. But I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to the fact that all these teams are really close and anything can happen. Yeah, I definitely read that schedule wrong. I thought you only played your rival twice. You only played like a select handful of schools twice and rotated every year. But yeah, I don't know much about schedules in college basketball. Obviously, as you can tell.
Nah, you get everybody at home, you get everybody on the road. That's why they do 2.5 months of conference play to fit it all in, and that's why.
But like for example, like Purdue didn't play Iowa twice, so I guess it's not like every school. But I think that's why threw me off. It's basically every school you do play twice, except for probably like one or two because that's how the schedule works out. I think that's why I screwed up. That's why I just want to correct myself. I'm not a complete idiot. I'm just a moron. Like that.
But yeah, nah, this is my favorite conference, man. Anybody has a chance to win it. I'm gonna go with Michigan State or Michigan. The two Michigan teams, I'm gonna go with one of them to come out of this Big Ten conference with the championship. Hey man, you gonna take Purdue? I'm gonna take Michigan State.
I know. That's what makes me laugh. It's like, man, we saved the best conference for last. We just gave 2 fan votes. We didn't give any. No, I think honestly, either of those 3 teams could win it.
I mean, like I said, anybody but Minnesota can win this tournament, bro.
Yeah, I think you're about right.
And maybe Nebraska. But I can see Nebraska getting hot, bro. Anybody but Minnesota, I would stand on that. I'm going to ride with Michigan State and Michigan, both of the Michigan boys, even though Juwan Howard is probably going to roll up something and let it fly during this tournament. Wow. I think Tom Izzo, man, I don't know, bro. Maybe I just need to marry this man. I'm in love with him. They lineup is just nice, bro. You got Hogar and
I won't lie to you. You take away that blown game they had to Iowa, I think a lot more people would be respecting this team a little bit more. I think when you blow a game like that, you lose pretty much a lot of people for the whole season. Like they almost lost me until I realized that that's probably like one of the freakiest things that's like happened in sports ever. I heard like the like stats on it and all that. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just like a really insane bad loss.
I mean, if you look at Michigan State's season this year, bro, they lost a lot of games
18-11,
by
11-2
2
at home,
points.
5-6 on the road. Yeah, and then like you said, they played a lot. I think I remember they played a lot of close games, like you were saying, and it's
They lost to Purdue by
just how it be
1.
sometimes. Wait, what?
They lost to Purdue by 1. Like they lost to
Yeah.
Gonzaga by 1. They lost to they lost a lot of these games very, very, very close. I'm trying to really look at it.
Oh, and also I don't want touch on. They also have something to play for, which is a lot of other schools can't say for because of the tragedy and everything that happened at their campus. That's another thing. As much as like that is something that like you might laugh at about sports, like it's a real thing, man. Those like type of events just like they just take teams crazy places they shouldn't be going. My best example of that is the I would say probably your New Orleans Saints, that whole hurricane season when they finally get to play in the dome, they have the block punt and everything. Like when magical stuff like that happens, like there's just some teams that are able to capitalize on it. This is a potential spot where, I mean, hey, Michigan State. I mean, I know it's been a little bit after people are slowly starting to forget about it because that's how we are as a society. But I bet you that school hasn't forgot about it, and I bet you they're fully ready just to be so supportive of each other, basically, because when stuff like that happens, you come together as a community. So it's going to be awesome to see what Michigan State does moving forward in the tournament.
Yes, sir. I definitely can't wait to watch. Big Ten is my favorite. I love that they are the last game to play of the season. The championship game is always leads up to Selection Sunday. It's always the noon or 3 o'clock game on CBS. I love the Big Ten tournament court. I love everything about it, man. Real quick, I got real quick. You got any games you want to look at tomorrow or anything about this tournament bracket projection you want to talk about?
I basically, like I said, that bracketology, I just waited for 9 because, like I said, I wanted just to like basically tell the people like, hey, this is those are your 4 out. Nothing much has changed. Providence is an 8 seed now in Alabama's side of the bracket, and I don't lie to you, if that stays the case,
These matchups are crazy, man.
No, there's some very crazy matchups. I'm not going to touch into too much. I don't want to personally, just for me, because like I've already saw too many matchups to get me excited for me just to lose them. Basically in a week from now, something else just to end it. For at least the bracket, and then yeah, I'll touch on like a game or two for the weekend. Your conference, your leader, your boy from the Midwest, Big Ten. 10 teams in. SEC has 8. Big 12 has 7. 5 from ACC, Big East. 3 from the Pac-12. 3 from Mountain West. 2 from WCC. 2 from the American, and I think there's 1 or 2 bids from all the smaller schools. But that basically, looking at a lot of schools from Big 12, SEC, Big 10, which I don't think would shock anybody. Tonight, his Stephen F. Austin covers team. They are big point spread, so I'm very interested. They play Utah Valley, and I think they're in conference tournament time. They might not be, but regardless, big game. I am just kind of interested in that because a lot of the smaller schools, I believe, are in conference tourney time. And if they aren't in conference tourney, you can just cut out that 10 minutes and basically just double tap twice to get ahead real quick. Yeah, I think basically going into Saturday, Alabama, Texas A&M, huge game at start off the day at noon. Arizona, UCLA, we mentioned it before, another big game. I like Providence, Seton Hall personally. Marquette, St. John's, not bad, but it's kind of there. Arkansas, Kentucky, I like those two. Then probably about where I ended is Kansas State, West Virginia, just because that team is feisty. And then that's my second favorite, just because like West Virginia is one of those weird teams now where I just enjoy watching because it's like they're like the chaos team to me. I just love watching them like create chaos because they have a 5-12 conference record or something like that, but they lose every game by like 2 or 3 almost. So they just basically like a leech almost in the air tip.
Would you take them +4? West Virginia, Kansas State.
I mean, 4's not a terrible number. I mean, I don't 4. That's a little tough. I don't know. That makes me a little scared, but I've seen worse. I've seen worse hit. So I mean, 4's not bad. I think, but Damn, you really put me in a spot. I don't know if I'd take that.
I
I
just
think
said
I would. Is it 4.5 or 4?
I'm 4 is the number I got for Kansas State minus
Push.
4.
I don't like push bets. No, I think 4. Honestly, I'd probably take 4. I think 4 is doable. At home, too. I think West Virginia at home has a decent record. I could be totally mistaken. The big game I want to talk about, though, game of the night, in my opinion, besides UCLA, Arizona, Kansas, Texas. Love it, love it, love it. I don't think I got to say anything. We got 5 versus 9. I love it. Basically, those are like the games I like. I love ranked games. That's my favorite. That's something I will always look forward to when I go into the games. Like, I'll give you guys a little secret. When I go and look for games, I look for the rank. First thing I do, look for the ranked games, see which ranked teams rank ranked teams, and then second, I look for the ranked teams, see who they play, because there's nothing better in college than a ranked matchup, and there's nothing better than an upset in college. So that's what I love looking for. Also, West Virginia, 12-4 at home. Give me the +4. Gimme. I like it. We'll take it. Why not?
It's a hypothetical right now, but that's the number I have for the game. So I just wanted to throw it at you and see if you would jump on it.
I think I F's with me some 4. I mean, it's the end of the season. I don't think it's. You got to bet, right? It's the last Saturday of the year. You got one, so why not?
I know I was trying to decide yesterday if I was going to go crazy tomorrow or just kind of relax. And I'm like hoarding money for the tournament. I got a nice little stash for the tournament already. But of course, the conference tournament's going to talk me into bed every morning. I'm going to wake up and be like,
that's kind of what I'm waiting for right now.
They got games at
Like
11
you,
a.m.?
I'm like, do I bet or do I just save it for 2 games from now so I can just lose it all on Purdue?
Yeah, that's a bad.
That's
bet.
just me
No,
personally.
I'm joking. One of my Achilles heels in betting is day games. If they got a game at 11 or 1, I'll talk myself into betting it just because it's like I love day
I'm at
games.
work. I'm
Yeah,
occasionally. I might as well like have something to root for while I'm watching. Then that team loses. It's like
I
because
should
it's
have
always
just.
like the 16 and 14 playing a 17 and 15.
Yeah.
You're like 3-point spread. You're like, you know what? I know UNC Irvine Bloomington of Northwest Indiana is gonna cover today. I got it.
Give me the minus 13.
No, yeah.
Nah, yeah. Nah, I do it
Man.
too much, honestly. I've laid off of it this season, but man, I love day games. On a weekday, like the weekend, it don't matter. But Tuesday, they got a game at 1 in the afternoon. I'm all over it, bro.
It is kind of nice to be like, oh hey, there's some basketball on early. It's nice to like. I like when they do like that. They'll have a game of like 3 or 4, and then it eases you into like the sevens.
Yeah, I'm huge on that in baseball too. Like I would look at the noon games every day and like just force a bet just because it's a noon game. But man,
Gotta have something to root for. Hey, I was about to say, I think we're on a new record for most time spent on a show.
no,
It all
definitely.
started because we started late.
That's my man
Yeah.
Mike. That's my man Mike told me once. Y'all boys got a full length movie going on.
Hey, all I'm saying though is like I think we did a decent job of breaking down every conference tournament. So it might be an hour, but like, hey, you break this up into like 3-4 sittings. I think 15 minutes each, maybe. You get about 2-3 conferences. I think you'd be all right.
Nah,
Plus, people need to watch anyway. I think we're good. I think people love the long stuff.
nah, man, that's the era we're in is long podcasts, and I definitely think we're giving insight and entertainment. And at the end of the day, bro, I wouldn't sit here and talk to you for an hour and 20 minutes if I didn't think it would give some insight to the people.
It also doesn't help when we get sidetracked and like bash number 11 or we bash Purdue. I mean, hey, people here for comedy, right? You want to hear jokes and stuff. You want to hear bets, jokes, and information. What can we not give you?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
You said you got that show Sunday, right? Is that this Sunday or is that next Sunday that we're doing you're doing that selection show?
Yeah, that's next Sunday.
Next Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Damn, I was about to shout it out. I forgot. Like you said, thank you for again having me on. I'm just really excited for all these tournaments. Time just disappearing. I thought we were already in tournament time, just talking now, and then it's like, oh yeah, hey,
Yeah.
we got a full week of conference tournaments. I'm just so excited. Yeah, again, thank you for having me on. These Fridays, man, they're so much fun. I think we talked about it a little before the show. Now we're slowly like the show starts a little bit later every Friday. Gets a little longer every Friday. Like, hey, I mean, it's the perfect time of season, man. The weather's starting to get a little nicer out. basketball starting to hit the cement a little bit outside because you can go outside, enjoy the weather outside. But most importantly of all, it's March, so it's madness time. I think next Friday, right? We'll have this bracketology fully. Should be about ready, I think, basically.
I'm still gonna wait till
Like
Sunday.
2 or 3 conferences to finish. I'm assuming like next Friday we'll do something very similar because I think conference tournament should be about done. I'm hoping that the bracket's basically all but locked up next week because I'm excited, man. It's doesn't get any better than this time of year, honestly. Super Bowl ends, weather starts to get a little nicer. Just the madness, baby. But yeah, thank you again for having me on. I look forward to watching the end of the show, seeing what you're taking for Saturday and everything, and then just know, people, when we say the madness is here, it's really here, and taking us all by storm. Thank you again. I'll see you next Friday. And then, hey, people, if you want to, I appreciate the watches on the JC Pod. Just hit our first video over 30 in like a few months. Really awesome. I've been hitting 28 like 4 or 5 times in a row to hit the big 3 like you did. Always a great feeling. And then, if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe to this channel. Big things coming in the future. I know we are not going to talk about any of it on air because I'd just be stupid. But just know that following months, man, we got some big stuff planned for not only his home court, but my home court as well. So thank you again, and I look forward to watching the rest of this episode, and I will see you again next Friday when the madness is even closer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to do our dang thing.
Yes, sir.
That boy Jaden Chandler Parnell. Now, as quickly as I can do it, I will give you the games for Saturday, the last Saturday slate of college basketball season. You got Michigan State minus 2.5 over Ohio State. Texas A&M plus 7 against Bama. Baylor minus 4 and a hook versus Iowa State. Providence minus 2.5 taking on Seton Hall. Marquette minus 3.5 taking on St. John's. Kansas State minus 4. That's why I asked him if he would take the other side. I'm on Kansas State minus 4 in this game over West Virginia. Give me Tucky minus 1.5 over Arkansas. Everybody's waiting for Arkansas to get hot. I'm betting that they won't. Give me TCU minus 5 and a hook over Oklahoma. Mizzou minus 5 over Ole Miss. Kansas minus 2.5 over Texas. Miami minus 1 and a hook over Pittsburgh. North Carolina money line over Duke. Give me Xavier minus 7.5 over Butler. UConn minus 9 over Villanova. And then Creighton minus 6.5 over DePaul. Thank y'all for listening. Thanks for the support. Take all wagers at your own risk, and please gamble responsibly. Dobbs.